Hi, it's Steph. Thanks for clicking. This is my first update for A Court of Pans and Empties Book 2. Paula of A Beauty Guru Made Me Do It created this Pantastic Ladies project, and as the name suggests, it is based on A Court of Thorns and Roses Book 2, which is ACOPAE. This project started on October 1st and concludes on April 30th. The start and end dates are a little bit loose because, as Paula is doing, you can keep going if you don't get to all the prompts. And I actually did that with book one. So there are some book one prompts in this update because I was still working on 3 prompts from book one, and I also had brought in 3 prompts from book two. The first book one prompt that I was working on is Rhysand, the High Lord of Night Court himself. And he's a product that is either navy blue or purple because those are colors that are kind of associated with him. And so I actually brought in an eyeliner. It is purple, it is from Cynthia Rowley, and does not have a shade name. I had a goal of using this 10 times. At the last update, I had 5 of those uses, and I did get the other 5. So this is a goal met, which I'm really happy about. There's still plenty of pencil left. This is kind of a lighter purple, so I usually put it on my lower lash line. Sometimes I use it on my upper lash line, and one use in there was actually an inner corner highlight. So I can use it 3 different ways. I cannot put it in my waterline because there are shimmer particles in it, and I think that's what makes my eyes kind of irritated. It doesn't bother me at all if I don't put it in my waterline, so I just don't. But this is now a rollout, and I will be replacing Rhysand. Next is the Adder. The Adder is a very dangerous creature. He is Amarantha's sort of general of her armies, and since he is dangerous, then he is represented by a dangerous product. I picked the Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara. It is dangerous because you can poke yourself in the eye with this when you apply it. I have done that. Yeah, it's not really the mascara's fault, it's my clumsiness, but I'm gonna blame the product anyway. My goal is to finish this, and I have done that. This had been open for a while, but it is now finished, so that's pretty exciting. It's a good mascara. It's also an expensive mascara, and I've also found mascaras from like Maybelline that I like just as much. So I wouldn't buy it again, even though it is nice, and if I got it as a gift or something, I would be very happy about it. And the last book one prompt that I was working on is Tamlin. He is something that you changed your mind about. He is the forgotten side of the love triangle, so he is out of luck as of right now and still very upset about it. But I brought in a product that I had been kind of nervous about. I kind of thought it would be messy and inconvenient and difficult to use. It is none of those things. I love it. It's the Cover FX Shimmer Veil in the shade Halo. I do still have this. It does still work. I do need to rehydrate it. It's getting a bit thicker than I would like, so I'm going to put some eye drops in there. But my goal is to use this 10 times. At the last update, I had 2 uses. I used it 3 more times for a total of 5, so I am halfway there with Tamlin, and I don't mind at all. This is more of a wintry type shade to me. And my favorite way to wear this is I'll do like a wing gel liner and put this on top of it, and then it has like a purpley and shimmery sheen that I really like. So I've done that one of the times that I used it, but this is still in the project and I'm okay with that. Now we are into the book 2 prompts, and the first one that I randomized with Tiny Decisions is High Lady. High Lady is something that has the word diamond in the name or something that looks diamond-y. Feyre, of course, becomes the first High Lady in a very long time in Prythian in any court. What I picked for this prompt is the Au Naturel Creme Shadow in the shade White Quartz. My goal is to use this 10 times, and so far I have used it 3 times, so I have 7 to go. I do like this product. It is more malleable than it used to be, which means that it doesn't stay as well. So I mostly use this as a base under colors whenever I'm not going to be wearing makeup that long, because it does crease on me rather quickly at the state it's in right now, but it is still usable. I am still using it, and I will get another 7 uses in this project. I actually was a little bit annoyed because that product that I just showed you could have fit any of the 3 that I randomized last time for the intro, but that's okay. The second one that I randomized was Cauldron, which is something that is in a pot or a jar. The cauldron is a container, but also sentient. I picked this Revlon Color Stay in the shade Creme Brulee. It is also a cream eyeshadow. This one's more of a champagne-y color, and since this one is newer than the other, it does actually stay pretty well, so I can use this for several hours at a time and love it. It has a nice shimmer to it. My goal is also to use this 10 times, and I've used it 3. So 7 to go on this one too. I do really like this product. I think these are underrated. For the price point, I think these work fabulously well, and I am very glad that I bought it. And the last one that I randomized was Tarquin. He is the High Lord of Summer Court. We did see him in ACOTAR, but we didn't actually learn his name and formally meet him until ACOMAF. but he has white hair and kind of a glow about him as a High Lord, so he's represented by something that is white or fluorescent. I picked something white. It's the Living Proof Full Thickening Cream. It's a hair product, and the product itself is white. I have used this 5 times, but I didn't quite get there. There is still product in the bottom there. This will be done in probably a week or two. This is something that I don't use all the time. It is a little bit inconvenient because you're supposed to put it in your wet hair and then blow dry. And I don't usually blow dry my hair. So that is an extra step that I didn't really want in my life, but it is a nice product. It does give more volume. I think it makes my hair look kind of stringy whenever I blow dry it, including when I use this product. But then the next day it doesn't look like that and it looks nice and full. So I do like it. It'll be in here until next time, and I'm sure it'll be an empty for then. I met goal on resand by getting all of my uses on the eyeliner and on the adder by finishing this mascara. And so I will be having 2 more prompts rolling in. I randomized them from Tiny Decisions. There are 2 prompts from book 1 that I had never got to, so those are on the wheel, but I didn't get either of them, and we're going to talk about the ones that I did randomize. The first prompt I got was The Night Court, which is something you thought would be awful, but actually love. And that's because we hadn't seen the Night Court in book 1, but we had heard of it. We've heard about how evil all of those people are. We learned that Amarantha had modeled her court under the mountain after the Night Court, which was horrific, which made it awesome for her because she's a psychopath. Additionally, Rhysand is the High Lord, and he did deliberately build a reputation for being a bad guy, so that is how everyone thinks of him as of the beginning of ACOPAE anyway. Logically, Feyre had assumed, since it's always spring in Spring Court, that it would always be night in Night Court. I can't blame her. I thought the same thing, but no, with the solar courts, the ones that are named after times of day, it's more of a symbolic thing because magic can change the weather if it's powerful enough, but you cannot change the positioning of the sun in the sky or the planet's rotation. So it's not actually always night in Night Court, but the breeze does smell like jasmine, which is my favorite flower. In any case, the product I pick, I'm being a little bit dramatic here. I did think that I wouldn't like this. I kind of expected to be hate panning it, but I actually really like it. Love is kind of a strong word. I don't know if I buy it again or not, but I have absolutely nothing bad to say about it. It's the Good Molecules Clarifying Cleanse Bar. I have been using this. I had it in It's a Project Pan Charlie Brown. And so now it's rolling in here to finish. It's going to be a while. I only use this on my face, so I don't need much of it, and bar soaps last a very long time. So I hope you don't mind seeing it because it's going to be in here for a while. And the other prompt that I got was Illyrians. The Illyrians have kind of been a challenge for the Inner Circle throughout the entire series. They have their own tradition and their own culture that is different from other Fae. And they are a bit more violent. They're more naturally aggressive, so they're great warriors, but it makes them very difficult to manage whenever you are not at war. While Rhysand was being held captive under the mountain, Velaris was protected in his magical bubble, and those of his circle who were in Velaris were not able to leave. The Illyrians live in their own villages in the mountains, so no one was able to get to them. So they had been ruling themselves for 50 years, and so they had reverted to some habits that are not popular, such as wing clipping. And so they are not under heel yet, but Cassian is trying very hard. Since the Illyrians have wings, Paula very cleverly made this an eyeliner, because you use eyeliner to give yourself a wing. This is my Maybelline Great Wear eyeliner in the shade Sapphire. So it is blue, it is very old. I've been trying to finish this for a very long time. I'm just gonna use it 10 times within this project and we'll see how long that takes me to do it. So there's my update for next time. I think I can finish this hair cream for Tarquin, and that'll probably be my only rollout, but that's all right. If I don't finish anything, I'm gonna bring something else in anyway. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you, and it's been nice talking to you. But this is the part where I'm gonna talk about books a little bit. So if you have not read up to and including A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is the 4th book, then you might want to click away and come back later because there's something that I want to explain about one of the characters that we meet in ACOPAE. I have not yet drawn this character as a prompt, but I wanted to talk about her anyway because I kind of want to level the playing field. As I was reading this series, I had a friend who was also reading it, but she was ahead of me. And so as a game, since she already knew everything I knew, we would text each other and I would guess things that might happen. And sometimes I was creepy close and sometimes I was way off. But one of the things that I was trying to guess is what Amren is, because the other characters within ACOTAR don't know. They know that she came from another world and that she is ancient and very powerful, but they don't know what she is. By the time I finished A Court of War and Ruin, which is the 3rd one, I was very certain, I think I said 10,000% certain, that I knew what she was. My friend had told me that no, she had finished the series by then, and it never tells us what Amryn is. But I explained what clues there were, and they were the kind of thing that some people are going to pick up on it, and some people are not. So for those of you who have not, I am going to show you how you figure out what kind of creature Amryn is. Most of the evidence is in A Court of Wings and Ruin, and so I'm going to read the parts that are relevant to identifying her and then cross-reference with a different source, and we're going to see how they parallel with each other. This is Amryn speaking from chapter 27 of A Court of Wings and Ruin. To escape the prison, I made myself mortal. Immortal as you are, but mortal compared to what I was. And what I was, I did not feel the way you do, the way I do now. Some things, loyalty and wrath and curiosity, but not the full spectrum. Again, that faraway look. I was perfect according to some. I did not regret, did not mourn, and pain, I did not experience it. And yet I wound up here, because I was not quite like the others. Even as what I was different. Too curious, too questioning. The day the rip appeared in the sky, it was curiosity that drove me. My brothers and sisters fled. Upon the orders of our ruler, we had just laid waste to twin cities, smote them wholly into rubble on the plain, and yet they fled from that rip in the world. But I wanted to look. I wanted. I was not built or bred to feel such selfish things as want. I'd seen what happened to those of my kind who strayed, who learned to place their needs first, who developed feeling. But I went through the tear in the sky, and here I am. All right, now we're going to cross-reference what Amryn just said with a couple of different things, the first one being in Genesis chapter 19, starting in verse 24. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Then he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those living in the cities, and also the vegetation in the land. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. I am implying that I believe that it was Amryn who helped destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and the other thing that she said about what happens to those who put themselves first, that sounds an awful lot like Lucifer, doesn't it? Within the same chapter, Amryn continues on. I yielded my grace, my perfect immortality. I knew that once I did, I would feel pain and regret. I would want and I would burn with it. I would fall. But the time locked away down there, I didn't care. I had not felt the wind on my face, had not smelled the rain. I did not even remember what they felt like. I did not remember sunlight. So I bound myself into this body. I shoved my burning grace deep into me. I gave up everything I was. The cell door just unlocked, and so I walked out. A burning grace. That still smoldered far within her, visible only through the smoke in her gray eyes. The mention of grace fits with the theme as well, but there's still more within the same book. Later on, at the very beginning of chapter 34, we're told this through Feyre's understanding. Amryn found no other Hybern assassins or spies during her long night of hunting through Valeris. How she sought them, how she distinguished friend from foe. Some people, Moore told me the next morning, after we all had a sleepless night, painted their thresholds in lamb's blood, a sort of offering to her, and payment to stay away. Some left cups of it on their doorsteps. All right, now keeping what Feyre told us in mind, we're going to go into Exodus chapter 12, verse number 21. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it in the blood in the basin, and put some of the blood on the top and both sides of the doorframe. None of you shall go out of the door of your house until morning. When the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on the top and sides of the doorframe, and will pass over that doorway, and he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. That is the origin of Passover within the Jewish faith, but that is also finally how we have an explanation as to why Amryn only really drinks lamb and goat blood. There is a little bit more evidence that I'm aware of in A Court of Frost and Starlight this time, and Amryn had been talking about how she chose to be female because that form pleased her. And then Elaine asks her a question. Could you have done it? Decided to take a male form? The question cut through the laughter, an arrow fired between us. Amryn studied my sister. Elaine's cheeks red from our unfiltered talk at the table. Yes, she said simply. Before, in my other form, I was neither. I simply was. This time we're in the New Testament, and it is Jesus speaking. This is Matthew 23, verse 30. At the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven. This is usually taken to mean that in the afterlife, people are neither male nor female, and angels never have truly been either. Sarah J. Maas did confirm in an interview that Amryn is a biblical angel. She hadn't really intended to spell it out. It wouldn't have really made sense since the characters within ACOPAE have never heard of angels. It is also interesting because that does in fact mean that Yahweh is canon within ACOPAE. And I've always kind of been very curious as to how religion works within the Mossverse. Like what makes a character a god versus not a god. But that brings us to some interesting questions about Crescent City. So if you have not read the first two books of Crescent City, this is where you might want to stop. Crescent City, of course, does have characters who are angels. However, those angels do not appear to be the same as what Amryn is. For instance, we are intimately familiar with Hunt Althalar, and we can in fact confirm that he is male, so he clearly does have a gender. Additionally, the Asteri practice of arranging marriages for archangels implies that they breed just like any other mammal as well. While the angels and archangels of Crescent City are very powerful, they aren't really that much more powerful than the Fae. If they were, then they would have annihilated them a long time ago, as the Fae and the angels do not get along very well within that social structure. This leads me to think that the angels of Crescent City are not biblical angels the way Amryn is, despite the fact that they do have feathery wings. But there are Fae who have feathery wings within ACOTAR. The Peregrine and Seraphim Fae both have feathered wings. Given that we know that the shifters of Crescent City are actually of Fae origin, I think it's also true that the angels are genetically engineered out of Fae as well, that being the Seraphim and Peregrine. If Amryn is similar to any creatures that we know of through Crescent City, it might be the Asteri. I haven't decided if I think that's what she is or not, if the Asteri are also meant to be angels. I'd be curious to know what you think. So for those of you who are not Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, now you can be aware of what Amryn is, and I don't know if that's going to connect to anything else later, but it is known that she is an angel. So with that, I will see you next month. Good luck with your projects. Bye.